freeze is over, but there's some things that you really got to think about to keep your family safe.
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Welcome in. We've got a lot to cover tonight. You know, the carbon monoxide thing is something that you should never take for granted, ever, ever, ever. It's a silent killer, and we have fire chiefs of prominent status here in Rhode Island to help us think it through and to make sure that we're doing all the right things this evening and every day, not only during the bitter cold, although the cold presents its own unique challenges. Nice to have you in. In the meantime, let's cover a couple of things that are going on in the world, including some really interesting stuff happening with the gubernatorial race and the newest, I guess, formal entry, Giovanni Furrow, the former Alex and Ani guru and former state senator and lieutenant gubernatorial candidate from way back and military guy and all of that, has decided that he's just going to throw down the, well, a kind of a unique approach to how he's going to be running this race. This is a post on Instagram, I guess, and was on Facebook and a whole bunch of other places. This is Furrow back in the day, I guess, with a buddy of his enjoying some of the pleasantries of Las Vegas and the pool scene, which, to be honest with you, is not my cup of tea. Might be your cup of tea, but the last thing I want to do is hang out with 4,000 drunks in a pool. But that's, you know, that's just my, well, anyway, the caption with the photo, Kev, you want to put that back up. Vegas, baby, I miss it. Fundamental question. As I run for governor this year, do you think you're going to do me a favor if you're voting for me? Or do you think I'm doing you a favor? That I'm willing to take 4 to 8 years off of having a blast saving you from dopes? Don't ever get confused. You know the answer, and I am willing to sacrifice because I care about you and Rhode Island. Hashtag follow me. Hashtag leaders lead. Hashtag it's a better time. Parentheses, except this time this might be better. End parentheses. Us. Like. Hashtag, gee, Mr. Furrow, will you save me, please, from the depths of despair here in Rhode Island? And can I party with you in Vegas if we get it all done? I mean, are you, really? So I see this, and I'm thinking, oh, well, he's going to have to come in this week. We'll have him in. He loves the battle, so nothing that I test him with or you test him with is going to matter because he's got a vision of who he wants to be in this race. I will tell you, the vision, the last time Giovanni Furrow was on this program, none of this garbage was part of his persona. Very buttoned up, very formal, very impressive, very disciplined, all those things. So we've got we may have a half a Sybil complex going on here, to be honest with you. Here on social media as well this weekend is, this is a 6 or 7 second portion of a much larger 2.5-minute piece that he's got out kind of selling himself as the fixer.
I make decisions. Statistically, I know I'll get a couple wrong. I don't care. I operate at battlefield speed.
I mean, it's like, okay, all right then. You know, I'm playing it. I'm posting it, I'm playing it, I'm talking about it, and I guess if you're rubbing a couple sticks together, because reportedly your personal wealth has been diminished because of your latest business run with Benris, which was not a success. Alex and Ani was a huge success. Benris, not so much. I guess we're kind of taking the bait. It all comes down to this concept. Is it just a question of spelling the name right? That all publicity is good publicity? Is there some lesson to be learned from Donald Trump's candidacy that if you make people feel like, you know, you're the story, you can win? I don't know. but it's a different take, no doubt about it. All right, Oprah last night, but we will follow up with Giovanni Furrow, no doubt. We record the TV show in the early afternoon. I do the radio show weekdays 3 to 6 on WPRO. He was scheduled to be my guest, so we'll at least have a little excerpt from that tomorrow. If we don't, well, we don't have. Well, we have another couple of guests tomorrow that I think reflect on this particular conversation. Oprah last night was. She was on a roll. We got a headline here. And here's a short excerpt from her pretty dramatic speech.
So I want all the girls watching here and now to know that a new day is on the horizon. And when that new day finally dawns, it will be because of a lot of magnificent women, many of whom are right here in this room tonight, and some pretty phenomenal men fighting hard to make sure that they become the leaders who take us to the time when nobody ever has to say, "Me too," again.
I watched this live last night. I got caught up in it, but the whole way I kept thinking, God, what do we do? Like the phenomenal men mention that she made there was the only time she actually gave my gender credit for existing. And I just don't know how this whole thing is going to roll out and whether or not this is going to be, as so many social phenomenons have been, a pendulum swing where men walk around apologizing for having, for just being who we are, for standing when we go potty. Honestly, I am completely horrified over these stories of women being treated so poorly in every workplace. I don't understand it. I understand it exists, but I'm confident there are many, many more men who are horrified by it than who are guilty of the behavior. I hope those of us who are horrified by it don't get lost in this shuffle. I think it deserves a lot of attention, and we'll be paying attention to that conversation tomorrow and many, many, many days to come. I guess we just screwed up. We didn't stand up. I'm not certain. And by the way, 4 sisters, a wife, and a daughter. So it's not like I'm not estrogen-oriented or supportive. Alrighty, it's been cold. It has been cold, 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 and I think we finally broke out of it. Certainly today in the studio it's not. Thanks for bearing with it, guys. Chief Frank Brown from the Rhode Island Association of Fire Chiefs and the Executive Director of the Rhode Island Association of Fire Chiefs, Chief Richard Susi. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. Thanks for having us.
You gotta, listen, you didn't come here for this. But when you see Oprah, do you come on, give it to me. Just give me your gut check.
Yeah, I like her.
We all like her. By the way, she's thinking about running for president.
That's what they say.
We all like Oprah. Who doesn't like Oprah? I'm just talking about the message. I mean, you're in a very male-dominated business.
We are.
Right? And every once in a while, well, how many women do you remember working with in your career on the job?
Over the years, I mean, in a combination department like Hopkins Hill, we've had several over the years, and they do a great job.
Yeah, I mean, you have a reflection on it, Richard?
The same thing. We've actually had we had to make arrangements for our sleeping quarters in our fire station back in the 90s, and we had to go through all of those things, and we did have women working with us. They worked fine.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any. Look, you didn't come here for this conversation, but I just wonder how constructive this whole movement is going to be, and I hope that what's lost is that most men understand what she's saying. It's almost as if she's talking past us. Just, it's like the trains run, and we need to be part of the solution. Don't you agree?
I agree, although I watched Breaking Bad last night, so I don't know what that says about me. I don't know, I missed the whole
You
thing.
know, I only got into one episode, and you know who got me off of
It's
that?
a great show.
My wife. She said, we're not watching this one together. This is not going to be the one, and I never went back. Anyway, cold outside, huh?
Very.
Give me the 30 seconds on the cold, then we'll dig into all of the issues that we need to protect.
Certainly over the last 14 days, it's been below zero, hasn't warmed up at all. It's playing havoc.
Today was a little better.
Today was better. Today it's about 34 driving in, but you know,
like a
certainly
beach
day it is. But certainly it's been very trying on the firefighters. The fires we've had to rotate out a lot of personnel, you know, because they're the top on our list. We got to make sure they're taken care of. We try to rotate guys out every 15 minutes because of the cold. Frostbite sets in quick, so it's been a challenge, but you know, we rise to those challenges, and we do what we have to do to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, all your years of battling these blazes, there was a package on the news this weekend. I was just horrified for the firefighters. When it's that cold, you're in there, and as soon as you use the water freezes. But when you're in the blaze, it's so hot that you're soaking wet with sweat. You come out with the sweat into the freeze, and immediately you're cooked.
And I think all the pictures that we've seen on the news this past couple of weeks, but even more recently this weekend, you know, are very reflective of what Chief Brown just said. That, you know, as soon as they come out, they're frozen. Like you say, you see these pictures of their ice-encased helmets, and that's why we need so many firefighters on the scene of a not even a huge fire these days.
It is during
this kind of weather.
It is during these times that the role of the firefighter becomes duly respected. Yeah. Right? I mean,
certainly. They're working under adverse conditions.
Yeah, it's
they really are.
Tough stuff. And they're also, you know, showing up at your home every once in a while when your carbon monoxide detector screws up. Let's talk about how we can keep you safe and not have the firefighters come to your home when we come back, okay? Stay with us. Welcome back. Here's an interesting story that everybody, even though this is not local, everyone should take note of.
Welcome. For people to not have to go through the same situation as we did.
That dream has been the fuel behind the Carlin Children's Detector giveaway project. Over $3,500 has been raised, and over 350 carbon monoxide detectors were available to hand out.
The mission is for every home in our community to have one. There's no reason that you shouldn't. It's a very easy way to save your family from tragedy.
Stacy Carlin, the mother of the children, says she's proud of her kids for starting and leading this project. Stacy says the plan was supposed to be small, but she says support from the fire department and community has caused it to blow up.
It's very exciting to see them jump in and do something for others.
This family got involved. That's amazing. I mean, 350 detectors, that's amazing. Yeah, I've never seen nothing like it.
Buchanan's assistant fire chief says 500 people die a year from carbon monoxide poisoning, and the highest rates are during the winter. He says carbon monoxide poisoning causes these reactions.
Flu-like symptoms, and that's really difficult to, you know, with the flu going around right now. But watch your animals too. The animals are affected, they're very sensitive.
With all the support, the Carlin kids are thankful.
It's a small town, but a big heart.
That's very nice. Maybe we should embark upon a project here, but you guys have done all sorts of outreach and public service regarding this. So 500 deaths a year, obviously 500 too many, completely unnecessary.
500 too many. Simple single station carbon monoxide smoke detector saves lives, and it's been proven to save lives. As we've seen local, where these detectors have gone off and we've gone in and monitored it and found that either a furnace or a supplemental heating unit had gone bad, they save lives.
What was your experience when you were running the local department about how many did you have any fatalities
we did not have any fatalities, but I do believe we did have a couple that were taken to the hospital that needed to be treated. Thank God, no fatalities. But
did those folks learn on their own that they were suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning, or did someone find them? Or?
No, I think that they had symptoms that the fire department came and checked them out. They had flu-like symptoms and went and checked them out, and then realized that there was a possible problem with carbon monoxide, and that can certainly happen. And thank God that they were caught in time, because left alone, that could have been fatal.
Yeah, and the majority of the EMS units in the state of Rhode Island now, on their first in bag that they carry in the house, has a passive CO detector on it. So when you walk into someone's house, whether it be flu-like symptoms or whatever you're responding to in that residence, we have a detector that's on. And it's alerted us to the fact that people, you know, the high CO is in the house. Case in point, a year ago, East Providence Fire Department went into a social club and found a lot of people overcome by CO because they had these detectors on when they walked into the building. Most departments in Rhode Island now employ that tactic because of you know, the success they had and the outcomes saved a lot of people that
Well, the thing is that I don't know that many people think about when they've got flu-like symptoms, oh, carbon monoxide.
Most of them don't.
Well, I think that's
If
part
they,
of
if
what
they
we're
come on and everyone's got them, in other words, everybody in that, is it likely that those kind of symptoms will impact everybody in the house more or less simultaneously? And that's an indication?
At certain levels, sure, depending on age, how well hydrated that person might be, how well they're feeling, were they sick prior, are they elderly?
So there are still the variables to play.
Absolutely.
But if everyone's kind of at dinner, you know, and everyone's like, oh, man, I don't feel good. Yeah, I got a headache too. Yeah,
Ooh, that's a big red flag.
That's right. Because usually when the bug's going, it's you. 2 days later, it's me.
That's right.
Right? So that's an indicator. When everyone starts to go, yeah, I don't know, yeah,
Another
woozy, all that.
Another good indicator is when one family member leaves the house to go to work and all of a sudden they feel better. Come home, I don't feel good. So normally what happens is you'll see that when they're putting themselves back in that environment, because once they get out of the environment of CO, you'll cleanse yourself of the CO. But now you go back into the house, you're home for a couple hours, you start feeling sick again, chances are there could be a CO problem going on with that house.
And it's not just headache, right? It could be all the flu symptoms occur.
All the flu, headache, nausea, vomiting.
Dizziness.
Yeah.
How much time do you have to recover healthily once you actually think you've been carbon monoxide poisoned?
Once again, I mean, depending on the level of carbon monoxide in your blood, you either got to go to a hyperbaric chamber, oxygen-rich atmosphere, or even just supplemental oxygen that they'll put on you, non-rebreather, or just staying out of that residence, depending on the level, for several hours will cleanse your cells. The carbon monoxide wants to attach to the blood cells 200 times greater than oxygen. So it just takes all that carbon monoxide's absorbed into the blood, it pushes out all the good oxygen saturation that's in there, and this is how people get sick.
People tell me, if there's no blaze in one's home and no one's physically been hurt or seized up, the typical things that would make you call an ambulance. People are probably pretty hesitant to call the fire department on these kinds of things, and they should not be, correct?
Well, actually, most of the time when people call 911, they're getting fire and rescue to come to that type of a situation, because usually the fire truck is the closest apparatus to be able to get to someone sick. And I know that's a whole thing, but why does the fire truck show up when I call the rescue?
Yes.
But there's a really good reason for it, and it's extremely helpful to the person who actually needs the help and is having the problem, to have the fire truck get there. Basically, many of the fire engines that come to people's houses are basically rescue trucks or ambulances, whatever word you want to use, that don't transport. So you're getting the assistance that you would have if you had a rescue or an ambulance as close as
But the moral of the story, no matter what rigs are showing up at your home, you should not hesitate if you think you've got a carbon monoxide worry to make that phone call.
Make the phone call, let us come in and monitor the house. The best thing to do is if you think you have an issue at your house, call 911, leave the residence, don't open windows, leave the house the way you found it.
Don't open windows, why, Chief?
Because we want to come in with our meters and find the source of the CO. If you open up the windows, we got to close everything up, bring everything back in the condition it was to kind of find out what's generating the CO.
So you open the windows, and then you call, you guys show up, you literally got to restart the whole process, because the poisoning can still be in the house, but you just mitigated it by blowing the windows open.
Exactly, and we want to investigate where it's coming from.
All right, we come back. Special thoughts that you need to have when it comes to the winter time, because that's got some extraordinary aspects. Stay with us. So the cold presents its own unique situation, right? We were talking on the radio the other day about ventilation and what specifically in the cold people need to worry about when it comes to carbon monoxide protection. First of all, you need these, all right?
Starts here.
How many do you need? One on every floor?
Yeah, you should have one on every floor. If you only have the money to buy one, put it outside your bedroom. That's where it belongs. So when you go to sleep at night, this will activate, and you'll.
Because at least during the day, if you're running around in the house and you don't feel well, you can react to it.
Correct.
Right? But you go to bed, you don't wake up.
Correct.
That's happened.
And if you only have money to buy one, call your local fire department, and they'll figure out a way to get you what you need.
Exactly.
There's no reason that anybody should not be well covered with carbon monoxide detection and smoke detection.
Good to know. Special worries about the winter?
Once again, our personnel. They're number one, so we try to take extra precautions when.
But I'm talking about in the house.
In the house, you got to be careful.
You were talking about the furnace the other day.
Furnace has to be well maintained, and certainly the venting of the
if
gas
it goes
appliances.
sideways.
If it goes out the side, when you have a lot of snow, if snow builds up on the side of that vent, you can have a blocked vent and cause a backup of carbon monoxide.
My furnace is vented through the chimney. What kind of homes vent sideways outwards?
Most all new construction, they're power vents, so they go out the side of the house and they have a fan on them that push it out the side of the house.
New construction?
Mostly new construction, probably over the last 5 to 7 years.
Really?
The furnaces are so efficient that they don't, it's not like the older furnaces that you can't even put your hand on the stack, the flue. With these new homes, you can put your hand right on it. They're just so energy efficient. So they do. They vent them right out the side of the house in PVC pipe, not even metal.
Sorry. It's been one of those days. Anyway. Okay, so if your furnace vents parallel to the ground outside, got to make sure, especially when we get these heavy snowfalls, to clear it.
That's basically it. Anything blocked, any vent that are blocked that could cause a backup or cause incomplete combustion is what the whole problem is with carbon monoxide.
And most gas appliances vent out in a
but also
not a snow worry way.
I think we should remember too, and I mentioned it one other time when we spoke, is when you're warming up your car, don't warm up your car in the garage and have carbon monoxide. That's what comes out of the tailpipe of your car.
Just because you open the door.
Just because you open the door doesn't mean carbon monoxide. The wind could be blowing all the air right back in, right into your house, and that's one quick way to get carbon monoxide. That even if you've got the best, heating system in the world and nothing's blocked, and you've shoveled your vents, and you've got carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. Thank God you do, because you can really build up carbon monoxide quickly from a car.
Anything else? Final thought?
No.
Just be careful.
Smoke detectors too. I mean, I think I would like to mention that some of the new technology with smoke detection, you can have carbon monoxide smoke detection, 2 different types of smoke detection. These new Nest systems where everybody's running with the new technology and the internet. Absolutely. It's the detectors are smarter than us sometimes with what they can do.
So. All right, so you're duly reminded and warned. We talk about this every year, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Happy New Year. Final word and we come back. Tomorrow we'll take a look at the social implications of Oprah Winfrey's really compelling speech at the Golden Globes Awards, okay? So make a note of that. We'll see you tomorrow, weekdays 3 to 6 on WPRO. Don't miss the show. Be back here tomorrow night. Thanks for watching. Good night.